of the Creator. That's what Emmanuel is. Emmanuel, Amanava even, is the mind of the Creator, is Yahweh within us, is Yahashua within us even. The tabernacle is the manual. It means it is the mind of the Creator. And a lot of people are out of their mind, or really you should be out of your mind and you should be in the mind of the Creator. But because you don't have the mind of the Creator, you don't know how to deal with law. Law is dealing with what? The mind of the Creator. That's what law is dealing with. Law is dealing with the mind of the Creator. That's why in all this stuff I was just showing you, right? If there's artificial versions of this red clover. There's artificial versions. Matter of fact, some people know that you would be looking for red clover, so they might sell you a red pill or something red that you would go, oh, okay, this is red clover. They give you an artificial version of it, right? But the mind of the Creator is this. So guess what? Nobody can patent this. So in order to sell you something that they patent, that they own, they have to modify this. Okay, thank you, DB. In order to patent this, how you doing, Dwayne? They have to modify this. Welcome back, everybody coming on YouTube. Thank you for your patience. They have to modify it. This is mint. Smells like mint. But some of you would be like freaked out. You would say, why does this smell like gum? No, gum smells like this. Gum is the modified version of this, right? You're not chewing on what's real when you're chewing gum. You're chewing on the modified version, right? We just showed you tomatoes. You're used to ketchup, so you would be used to red food coloring. But the tomato that we showed you earlier, what? That's a real thing. That's natural. It's a different mind. So a lot of you would see this and wouldn't even think. A lot of you wouldn't even think, if you're looking for mint, to look for what the leaves look like. Mint leaves are usually going to look like this. They're usually going to look the same, but we don't have the mind of the Creator. So somebody can modify what's there, and you're used to a modified result because you're used to a modified presentation. But see, in all the stuff that I'm showing you, watch this. Nobody can patent this. They can't patent red clover. They have to change it by law. Why? Because whatever the Creator made it to be, by law, you can't patent what you did not create. So when they modify it, it is a false creation. It is a counterfeit. And I can own counterfeits. I cannot own what's natural. How you doing, Blessed? Thanks for being a part of the community. You see what I'm saying? So I can own what's modified, but I can't own what's natural. That's law. You can say whatever you want. You don't like it. A lot of people don't like it, but that's real. You don't know. So when you go into a courtroom, they have to get you to identify with your straw man. That's why they say, are you such and such? How do you plead? They have to ask those questions because you have to agree, and then you have to plead. You have to have pleading is animalistic behavior. How you doing, Brother Charles? So you have to plead, you have to agree that you are a modified version of yourself, so that you're already in a system that they registered the modified you to, so that now you will identify and say, yes, I'm here not on behalf of so-and-so, this modified version, but I am this person. And when they say, do you understand at the end? Do you understand the charges that are against you? As soon as you say yes, you stand under the charges. They're charging you something. And so now if you say, yes, I stand under the fact that you're charging it for me, but I'm going to prove to you that I have receipts to show that I should be able to be debt free. Rather than standing there and say, I don't understand. This is not who I am. This is not my people. This is not my regulations. This is not real. This is artificial. And I don't have to bow down to any of it. And see, watch this. Then they're going to scare you. Then they're going to scare you. Well, look, you must comprehend that you didn't come here today to argue the law. What do you mean I didn't come here today to argue the law? Of course I came here to argue the law. Is this not a court of law? They're going to scare you. They're going to try to use scare tactics. Do you not, they'll say this to you, do you not realize that what you're doing is something that's foolish to try and represent yourself? Why is it foolish? Who says it's foolish? Your Honor, I didn't come here to argue whether or not what I was doing is foolish, because it's the foolish things of this system, this world, that will confound the wise. You get to talk to them like that, and they have to back off. You get to ask questions. Your Honor, is this in law that we're dealing with, in this substantive law, all right, in the procedural law that we're getting ready to do? Question for you: are we dealing with equity, law of equity? Are we dealing with forgive me, I'm having a moment. Are we dealing with law of equity? Are we dealing with Common law, that's not the one I'm really looking for. Law of equity, are we dealing with admiralty law? Are we dealing with, I guess we could say common law, but that's not the one I'm looking for. But anyways, like you get to ask questions because the judge, the trustee might not even be authorized, right? The judge might not even be authorized to deal with what you're talking about. They might not be in a lawful position to even deal with what you're talking about. You might have to recognize they're not even, sometimes they're not even in the position to have this conversation with you. No, we're not dealing necessarily with all of them. Law of admiralty is not necessarily law of equity. Procedural law is not necessarily remedial law. Substantive law, I got to feel if I'm dealing with public or private law. Maritime law and admiralty law, are basically, I'm saying the same thing at that point, right? Especially the way your court systems are set up, right? And admiralty law is dealing with something that's different as far as now we might have to start dealing. Or am I talking about a federal case? Because federal law, I got to speak different than I talk about other things. Am I talking about natural law? Because you can't have substantive law without natural law. So you got to deal with who you are in your nature. But you get to ask questions. Which one? Which one is this, Your Honor? Which one is this? Because basically all of it is commerce, all of it is commercial, because they're trying to see what you need to pay, a debt to society. And you keep identifying with something that's not you. They even try to get you all the time. You ever seen when you fill out forms and they say, can you give us your AKA, what you're also known as? They're trying to get you to do that. How you doing, MIT Jenny? They're trying to get you to do that because they want to figure out, can we also get you to sign even who you are to this stuff? So you guys think of nicknames or something different, but see, there's a lot of people that know you more about your nickname than know you're a straw man. Some of you don't even like your straw man. You don't even use the name that your parents gave you because you don't identify with it. Well, guess what? Your parents gave you a name that identifies with somebody else. Do you know that last names and surnames aren't even real? That's not your culture. I said we were talking about this on Friday when Minister Tamara came and graced us with her presence, and we were having some conversation, and we were talking about different things. I said when it comes to marriage, like for example, when sisters be like, "Oh well, carrying the last name, this and that, or whatever," like last names aren't really something that we do where I come from. Like we do have different names, but they're actual multiple names. We don't have like really last names. We just have multiple names that we're known as because multiple people, multiple branches of the same people carry different names. So when I go certain places, you will address me as Ashe. Other places, it might be in Zuri. Some places, Ashe in Zuri. Some places, Kofi. Some places, Kofi Ofori. And Ofori is not even necessarily a name. It's more so like a title. It's more so something that's saying that I'm the firstborn of my family, and so I'm the one that is a seminal head at some point. Once my father is gone, my mother's already passed. So once my father is gone, I am the one who's going to be in charge of making sure that my family is doing what they're supposed to do and that they're protecting, that they're taking care of, and that those men and women that are with us, I have to be around and I have to make sure that I'm doing things culturally relevant, that, as far as ensuring that it's relevant enough to ensure that they live properly and that they live great lives, right? If you go somewhere else, you might be dealing with Yasu bin Yashra, right? Like depending on where I am, I have many names. So I have a long list of names. And somebody might say, well, identify with your straw man. That's not who I am. And so you have it in your mind. We are more in tune with our counterfeit. But like we said about the person who we started to talk about earlier, where he was literally saying, "I have the cash. Why do I need credit? I can pay you 10 times what you're asking for. Why is it that you need me to put something on a credit card?" It's because they want you to identify with your straw man. They want you to deal with credit, right? And even credit is not even real the way that they do it, because credit's supposed to mean that I already owe. But see, they're not looking for it. So you got to realize, you think that this is a trick right here. This is a trick of the enemy. I'm gonna help somebody real quick, right? I'm gonna help somebody real quick. You ready? Here's a trick of the enemy. You ready for this? You think you have a credit score. How you doing, Howlin' Wolf? I'm gonna say that again. You think you've been taught that you have a credit score. You don't have no credit score. It's not your credit score. You know that, right? You're not in charge of it, right? So it's not yours. How you doing, babe? My wife is on the Honorable Mind. She was already outside with this, but you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. How you doing, Brother Keith? I'm going to say that again. You think that you have a credit score. My credit score, but you don't have a credit score. The credit score, because it's not yours. Why? Because it's not your credit. See, credit is supposed to mean that I pay you $1,000 in advance, whatever your business is, right? Let's say you have a business where you do some kind of hotel, motel. What do y'all call it? What's the big one now where everybody has people rent their homes out or rent their rooms out of their apartments, whatever you call that. What is that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. When you guys travel and you're always paying to be in somebody's house. Airbnb, thank you, right? Something along those lines. When you go to the Airbnb, right, you're going into somebody else's house. But see, let's say you have an Airbnb, and let's say I'm gonna come by from time to time. I don't know how often, but I just like your spot. I go to your spot often. I'm asked to talk in your spot, whatever. And so I'm blessed, through SOC where they say, hey, Pastor Kofi, you need to be over here this many times. We're gonna make sure that you can go ahead and get there as much as you need to. How you doing, Henry? Thanks for being part of the community. You said just don't let it put you in a mental ghetto. Okay. All right. So let's say you have a credit score. How you doing, Brother Vincent? Right. And let's say I say, I like your housing that you have. Right. So whenever we come through, we're going to come through your spot. It's $100 a night. No problem. I'm going to pay you $1,000. All of a sudden, I'm coming through wherever you are. I'm coming through your spot. I let you know. I call you. Hey, do you have this spot available? This and that or whatever. Oh, yeah, no problem for you. I'll make it available. No problem. Okay, cool. How long are you going to stay? I'm going to stay 2 nights. Right? The way credit's supposed to work is I've already paid you. You just take $200 out. Right? So we already have an agreement. We've already have a contract. We've already exchanged finances. We already have an agreement that, hey, you know that my stuff is good. My money is good. I've stayed there before. We have no qualms. We even have a friendship of a certain type because we have an agreement. We know each other. We're community. So look, when I'm coming through, I already given you 1,000. So whenever I come through, I get dibs, so to speak. Right? But that's what credit is. But see, you don't have credit. What happens is you get a credit card. Your credit card says what? That somebody else has some version of what you call money or some kind of capital, and they recognize their capital. So when you show up, they want you to use a credit card with your straw man on it, which is what? Property law. So now what you're saying is when I make a transaction with you, I have agreed that a fake version of myself, right, that I get to say as a straw man, because this is what a straw man is. If you don't know what a straw man is as far as property law, this is what a straw man is. Let's say I'm going to buy some land. I'm getting ready to buy the land. As soon as I buy the land, what am I supposed to do? Or I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to buy some land. I get ready to buy the land, but I don't want to buy it in my name, right? So let's say I have a company, right? A company called Kofi's Printing Press. I'm going to go ahead and buy the land in the name of Kofi's Printing Press, but I'm going to stay there. But Kofi's Printing Press is technically accountable for the land. So you can't come at me, right? Because I have it through what? The straw man, through Kofi's Printing Press. So if something happens, don't come to me. I didn't do anything. This is not my land. I don't owe you anything. All right. I'm not going to jail for nothing. Go and look at Kofi's Printing Press. But you stay on the land. I only stay here because Kofi's Printing Press allows me. But aren't you the owner of Kofi's Printing Press? Yeah, but look at what? Look at the trust. Trustee. Look at the trust, judge. And you can see clearly that I'm not responsible for anything that happens. You have to go to Kofi's Printing Press. But Kofi's Printing Press is not a person. Actually, it is, because it's a straw man. It's an artificial person. Sometimes even it's a corporation. So the corporation is an artificial person. The straw man is an artificial person. The fake company is an artificial person. So don't come at me, Your Honor. Go to the artificial person. See? And so when you give somebody a credit card, what they're saying is that, see, you should be able to go to the person because it's not your credit, it's not your money. If you're spending money on a credit card, because there's no money being exchanged, it's just numbers in the system. But that's what you want to believe. Okay, let's just deal with currency. So you want to, yeah, just like an LLC, right? And in a sense, right? They're slightly different, but the same concept, right? So when you spend that credit card at the hotel, it's really not your money. It is American Express's money. It is Citibank's money. I don't know these credit card companies, forgive me, right? But you're spending somebody else's money, right? That's what's going on, is that you're spending someone else. When you go and rent your car, right? If something happens, technically, right? Whoever your Visa, right? Whoever it is, you owe them. They are the ones who should be responsible. However, you got a credit card in your name and your artificial person, all caps, straw man. And so what's happened is that therefore the credit card company, the artificial person, says that, hey, this person owes us debt because we're extending them credit. They are an extension of us, but they are not us. So if they mess up, don't come looking for us, come looking for them. Did you catch that? So the credit card company has made it to where now, in what's happening is that the credit card says, hey, Kofi is the one who's in trouble. But it's not Kofi's money. It's not his credit. Yeah, exactly. But he signed up. And so we're using him as a straw man. We're doing business with you through him. But you're aren't you American Express? No, yeah, we're American Express, but the straw man on that you signed up with is Kofi Ofori. Come on, somebody. You hear what I'm saying? The straw man, the artificial version, the counterfeit is who you're supposed to go after. You're not supposed to go after us. It's signed, it's documented. You signed an agreement with Kofi. You didn't sign an agreement with American Express. Are you getting the context? Right? The counterfeit is who you're doing business with. And we have more in common, unfortunately, with counterfeit than we do with reality. Praise y'all, somebody. Oh, thank you, babe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I mean,
I'll do it and then you can have it.
okay. I'm getting sprayed. My wife made a spray for me for these mosquitoes. Praise y'all. Thank you, babe.
Mhm.
I made a 911 text. So do we have anything for mosquitoes? Praise y'all. I forgot where I was. In the swamp.
Yeah.
Totally forgot where I was.
Okay.
Okay, thank
There
you.
you go. Mhm.
I'm not spraying myself with Febreze. She made a she made a concoction to put it in the Febreze bottle. Praise God. All right. For educational purposes only. Don't be sitting up there spraying yourself with Febreze. Do not spray yourself with Febreze. This is not Febreze. I'm not hearing it. Okay. It's a counterfeit. It's really something else on the inside. Amen. Look. I'm just trying to tell somebody, I'm trying to show somebody you have more in tune with the counterfeit. You have more in common with the counterfeit. You have more of a counterfeit mind. You have more of a reprobate mind. Ooh, we don't like that word. But you're dealing with counterfeit. I wonder what would happen if you stopped living counterfeit and started living reality. If you made a stand and you said, I will no longer be counterfeit, I will no longer allow people to try and make me counterfeit. I'm not counterfeit, I'm real. And real people deal with real issues. And real people deal with real issues. Hey, babe, is your phone out here? Yeah, can you do me a favor? Make sure you're not on I don't want to use your thing. Can you make sure you're not on the you're not using the personal hotspot? Thank you. Right? You're not using it, right? It just popped up and said, okay, all right. It's off? Okay, all right. Yeah, so you want to make sure you're not using the counterfeit. Even what was just happening then, right? Even what was just happening then, I was asking because there's multiple things that will pop up. There's multiple things that just say iPhone on there. And if I'm not careful, I would have joined into something that was counterfeit. It's not the real thing. So if she had walked away, right, there would have been something that it was on the wrong thing. And I'm sitting here, but what I need in this position would have moved. Uh-oh. You guys having problems hearing me? Again? Can you guys hear me? On YouTube? Y'all having problems? Oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. Oh no. I don't want